Okay, I'm back working on this 2012 Chevy Cruze. We're going to be replacing the radiator. The first thing you'll want to do is get it on ramps. I've actually got it on blocks and jack stands here for another job I'm doing on it, so I've already got it lifted up. And we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to have to get the coolant drained out. I'll show you how we're going to do that. Okay, I've got a T20 and just a flat screwdriver. We're going to go underneath the car here, and we've got several of these Torx screws that go starting over at that corner and coming all the way over here. We got some push pins. I've already got these popped up using the screwdriver, and we pop those out once they are popped up. Once we have those out, we'll go ahead and start with our T20 here. We're going to take every one of these out, and that's the first thing we're going to do. We got to take all these across through here, back over to here, to be able to get this piece off. So I'm just going to continue on. Go ahead and remove each and every one of these Torx screws here. Okay, so we got all of our screws out, and we're just going to pull back. It's got these slots here, here, and over here. Just pull it back. See how it just slides on there. And that's just on each of those. So we've got that out of the way now. So we can get up here. This is our drain spout. Now, one thing we could do is get a hose on here so we're not making a big mess. Okay, so I got a piece of 5/16 hose on here. Hopefully it doesn't try to kink up. So we're going to just get it to draining down here. Now, why they would turn a spout sideways, I don't know, but that's how it is anyway. Okay, while we got that drainer, we're going to work on this up here. Got a couple of these 10 millimeters that are on each side, and then we've got these push pins, and we just need to pop all these up and out of our way here. So we'll just keep up with these. Okay, same thing on this side. We got a 10. And then we'll go ahead and just pop each one of these up. Okay, so we're just going to continue on popping these out here. Okay, now I can't say that every car is going to be the same. Some of them may have, in fact, have some screws under here. Mine just has some clips. Okay, if I can show you, it just has a clip. You just basically like pick up on that or push down, and this will start to pop out of here. Just push up on the bottom. Now there may in fact be some screws on some of these, so I don't know that yours will be the same. This one just has little push locks. And all I'm doing is pulling up a little bit and pulling that out. Okay, and with those I can just simply remove this piece. Now when I'm looking on the bottom here, it looks like there could be a place for screws here and on these ends, and you would see that over on the sides, and also possibly some screws coming into here, but those are absent on this one, so I can just remove these snaps. Now if you can't do this on yours, you may have to go ahead and just pop the bumper off to make things easier, but it's up to you. You know, you could work around this possibly by pulling it back, but it's going to be difficult. Okay, so we got that piece out of the way. We can see we're going to attempt to get in here. We're going to get these for this latch. I'm just going to get in there with a ratchet wrench. Those are 13s. We're going to take that. We want to put a mark. I've got a permanent marker. I've made a mark so I can put it back in the same spot there. Okay, so we got those two bolts out. Okay, you look over here on this side under here where this little wind shroud here, you got a 10mm you got to take loose on that or it's going to get hung. Take that 10mm right there completely out, and that loosens that up. Okay, now right here we've got a 13. This is also the plastic piece that mounts to this top of this radiator that stabilizes it, and it goes through this plastic piece into this brace into the frame here. So this is the longer bolt that you got there, and that will just wiggle out of there. You see how it's got these little nooks that go into here. So we're going to just put that aside. Now we also got a 13 right here. I'm going to go ahead and completely remove that. Okay, now on the back side here we've got a 13. I need to go ahead and get that loose. We'll get these out. We'll move on to the other side. So there's those three out. Okay, I want to point out that I'm not using this hood prop, and so I'm going to be removing this, that I've got this propped up with blocks. So just be mindful of that. Go ahead, disconnect your battery, your negative cable. Have that disconnected before you start removing any of these wires and stuff. Alright, we're going to be doing the same thing here. We're going to be removing this one on top, this one that's going into this bracket, and then we've got one more that's on the back side. Now another thing that I've done is I've put a mark on this, so I figure it will go back in the same spot, but just in case I have any movement, I'm going to get it to line right back up where it was at. Just put like a mark along this line and a mark going this way. Okay, and there's that one. And we just got the one more on this back side here. Okay, the next thing we're going to have to do is we've got these wire connectors here, and these are broken on mine, but you're going to have to squeeze and disconnect them. It's running along, snapping into here. We'll pop those out and then disconnect this connector right here. Okay, and this one's actually not broken, and it's not going to come loose. Okay, so you just squeeze down on that right there. So we got that loose. So everything's loose from this. As we lift this up, we're just going to kind of feed this down, back down in here. Okay, so we should be able to lift this up if I'm not missing anything. I think I may have another bolt here. Okay, there's 10 millimeter that's in this plastic piece that goes into a little bit of this frame here as well, and there's one right here, so you have to get those out. Okay, we should be able to lift it this time and feed this down in here, hopefully. Okay, so we got this whole piece just up and out of the way here. Okay, I think we can just move this over and set it out of the way for the moment. Now we've also got wire clipped in on the top of this fan that's going to have to come off there. But you can see how we can actually see a little bit here now. And with this turbo, this is the 1.4 liter. It's definitely pretty crowded up here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, so this connector has been broken, but it's very, very hard to remove. Sometimes you have to take a screwdriver and push this off. It really doesn't like to come loose. So we need to get this wire harness where it's snapped in and run it along through here. We need to get it unsnapped and push that back. Okay, we've got one more like coolant sensor down there that's got a wire clip on it that's going to have to come off. We'll get to that in a minute. At the moment, what I want to do is get this this fan. So I got it disconnected. We want to try to get this fan up and out of here. Now, you have to take a screwdriver down on the bottom and push in on the tab before you can lift this up. So it's I could probably show you a little better on the other one when I get it out. Okay, so before I get these clips on this fan, I'm going to get down here with a screwdriver and I'm going to get to this clip on this hose. Just lift that up the best way you can, pop it up, and once you get it popped up, you got to firmly pull to get that loose. Okay, so now that I got that loose, I can actually go down in here and push on that tab, but you have to push in while you're lifting up to pull this fan up here. Okay, and I'll say there's still not a lot of room, but if you wiggle it around, you can work it right up and through here. I'm going to show you these tabs on the other one, but there's just a limited space. You mainly just have to kind of pull it back that way and kind of start working it up and stuff, and you can get it out of there. Okay, this is my replacement. Just want to show you, these are the tabs you have to push in on, because as it goes down in there it locks. So if we slide this, well, I've got it up. First of all, we got to get it turned over. Okay, if we slide it down into this on both sides, it's going to lock, or it's supposed to. Okay, it's just going to lock where you can't lift it because this right here is locking it a little bit. So if you push that over just a little bit, and you can use a screwdriver or whatever, then that allows that to lift back up. It's the same thing over here. You push that, that allows you to lift this back up. So it's why it needs to lock in there, I don't know, because once this thing is in the car and everything's locked down, it's not going anywhere, but I guess it helps hold it just in case. So anyways, what you got to do is get down in there and push on these on both sides in order to get those out. Now we're fixing to be working on these transmission cooler lines. I just want to show you this. These already have this little spring in here. You can see that. Now, in order to get the old ones off, you got to find like one of the little legs, and you take a little pick tool and you basically just start popping that thing up and off of there until you can get it loose. So you got these already installed. You don't have to worry about it, but when you have to remove it, you have to get on there like here and get a hold of that little spring and pop that off of there. Okay, for these turbo cooler hoses, you got to get up there with a screwdriver and pry this spring off, and you'll be able to pop that out of the way. Now, I said, working on this for our trans cooler line, we have to use a little pick tool, and we're going to get a hold of that and pop that little spring off there. Okay, so working on this one right here, we're going to have to get the upper two off as well. This is the little clip, and once you get that clip, you should be able to reach up in here and pull, but it's going to definitely take a little bit of doing. Now I've got the top two loose. Now one of them runs just up to the top of the radiator, and the other one runs into this block feed right here, but you have to get them both off. This one here I'm wiggling is the bottom, this one is the top, so I had to do the same thing. Now with these here, I'm going to put those springs back on this piece prior, and then I just push them in. But we put them on beforehand. We put the little springs back on them, but I have to take them off in order to pop the lines out. But going back, you pop them on ahead of time, and then you just snap your lines back into place, and they don't pull out real easy. You have to really pull on them and kind of push against that block. So we got those loose. We got the intercooler tube loose. We're going to get the tube loose on the other side. Okay, and again over here, you got this wire. You got to take a pick tool or whatever and get it off of there. And then you can pop that loose. And we kind of need to get it out of our way a little bit. So with these out, we can get to other things that we need to get to and hopefully not catch on those. Okay, the next thing that we need to work on is getting this the intercooler piece that is right directly behind the radiator. And there's a clip, you can see it right there. To go down in there with a screwdriver and push that in while we pull up on this. So, and we don't want it to fall back down. Same way over here, we have to push that in right there as we pull up. and this will come up. Now as I get this, we've got a clip right here. I pulled that up, and I'm going to go ahead and finish removing that. This is for this little sensor, and you just twist it and it'll come right out. So we got that out of the way. There's another one going back to the intercooler, I believe. So we're just going to press in on those, and we're going to start lifting up. Another thing about it, before I forget, this hose down here, very difficult to get to. What I'm going to do, I've just got a screw type clamp here. I've done got this loose. We're going to simply remove this. I'm going to be replacing this hose anyway, but we're going to just bend this thing back here, basically, and we'll go underneath the wires and everything we need to, but we're going to pull this whole thing up and out of here, and then as we get it up here to where we can actually get to it, we may go ahead and take it off from there. But we're basically going to be lifting it up once we get these pushed in on this intercooler housing here. Okay, you can also use a putty knife down in here to push in on that. Now essentially what you're doing, you're not lifting the radiator, you're lifting the intercooler up because it's setting down on the radiator, so we have to lift up on this intercooler piece here and lift it up and off of the radiator support. Okay, if you'll watch as I'm pushing that, okay, see I popped it up and off of there, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side there. Okay, again, we just put that putty knife down in there. We're going to lift up. Now this intercooler piece won't have anything holding it, so it's going to want to drop down, so you may have to put something under it to support it or something in the meantime, but you just got to lift it up and out of there while you push down on the radiator. Okay, now what I've done once I've lifted that up and off, you see how this is free because it just sets. See those little bottom nubs there, and then how it locks into this back side. I can show you on the other one as well. But now that we've got that free, we're going to start working this out. I'm going to kind of turn this sideways and essentially try to work it out of here. I may have to go ahead and take my braces, or the part that it sets on, loose if they're in the way. I'm going to see what I can do with it. Okay, there's not quite room to pull it up and through here like this. I'm going to try to reorient it. If I can, I'm going to remove that bottom bracket down there. Okay, I've just got a long extension. I'm going down and getting these two on this bracket. I believe that this side will be enough to do what I need to do, and that's another reason that I've got this intercooler tube loose, is because it makes it easier to get down in here. See if I can get into this bracket here now. It's got one of these on each side that it sets into. I'm just working on that final 13mm bolt there. And once this is loose, it'll probably just fall off of here. Okay, so here's that piece out of there. See how the radiator is going down and setting into that. Okay, with that bracket off on that side, essentially I've just let this, what would be my left side, drop down, and I've just turned it sideways. And see, this hose still attached to, and now I'm just going to lift it straight up and through here. I can move this back enough, I can lift it up through here. You can see I can pick this up because this is not attached. I can move these back, even though it's trying to hit right there, I can move it back enough to pull it straight up through here now. Okay, so that worked out pretty good. I think I'd probably just attach that hose and have it on there as I'm putting it back in. Just makes it easier, but I'm not going to be using that clamp I really don't like these. I may hunt down a different one. We'll see. I know if you do have to get that hose off specifically, it makes it a lot more difficult, so I prefer just to get those screw style clamps, because if you need to, you can actually get in there and, you know, get it from a different angle. But anyways, here it is out. And don't be surprised if you don't have some more coolant going everywhere when you get this get to moving this thing around. And so you'll note that I've got cardboard on this one, and because one thing that aggravates me is when you're trying to get one in and you're bungling it around, you'll go to messing your fins up. So this just kind of takes that out of the worry. Okay, one of the things you want to absolutely do while you've got this where you can get to it is snap your little clips back onto this right here, because it's sure hard to get to when it's all in there. Now I'm thinking this is supposed to be mounted to something, but it's all just flopping in the wind here, so I'm not for sure what got broken on that. Same goes for these clips. Go ahead and just slide these, snap them back onto your intercooler tubes, and then when you push them on, they'll lock. Okay, so we got a new radiator hose on here. We did transfer this piece over. Now I forgot about those little plastic pieces for whatever purpose. They need to be popped off to get to the spring, but transferred this tube over. We got an 1.75 inch, just a screw style clamp, and we got our hose on there. We're going to go ahead and start dropping it down into place here now. Okay, so we just went back down at an angle, and I just brought this in back up here. We had plenty of room with that mount. I'm just getting ready to put that little mount piece back on there so we can go ahead and set the radiator. We can always take this cardboard out. It's not going to be a problem. It's going to leave it in place for now so nothing's getting damaged. Okay, just tightening up the 13 millimeters on that clamp, and we're all finished up with that. I think the next thing we're going to do is we'll go ahead and set. Now you can lift this and feel and set it back onto those little rubber grommets, or if you need to, you can go underneath. Okay, this is setting down. Now the tricky part with the intercooler is it's kind of attached to the condenser and everything. We need to get it picked up and get it into the bottom, and also slide it into this top here on both sides. And you can do one side at a time or whatever's easier. We're going to go ahead and do that at this point. Okay, I will pre-warn you, these little clips are not fun. To get it in the top and the bottom is not real fun. I don't know who thought that'd be a good idea. Simple bolts seem to be better, but anyways, we got them there now. We're going to get this hose routed back up here and probably work on getting this fan back in here. Well, actually, we need to reconnect our sensor and our intercooler, and we got a clip that goes on this over here. It just twist into place, and just get that clip back on there. We'll start hooking up some of these hoses. Okay, so we got that sensor back in. We pushed our intercooler in until we heard it snap, and now we're going to work on pushing these transmission cooler lines back in over here, and you got to push them firmly till they snap. Okay, I will say that the most difficult part of this project for you is going to be these transmission cooler lines. Not only are they extremely difficult to remove, but they are extremely difficult to pop back into place. And it's in like an almost impossible place to get to where this junction is located. Bottom one's no problem, but this here, this is just ridiculous right here. I think it's almost better to have the bumper off. But I finally got those snapped. I'm going to put those little covers back on there. Okay, we've got the hoses reconnected, and we're getting ready. We're going to go ahead and slip this fan back into place. Okay, I found it easier just to start in that direction with the fan and just kind of angle it down and then start working it in here. Okay, the tightest fit is over here between these transmission cooler lines, just squeezing it down through there, kind of forcing it that way enough. We're going to go ahead and get all these wires put back up here where they were. And get all this reattached. And we'll go ahead at this point and get the brace over here back into place. Let's reconnect our fans. Everything here looks good. Probably could stand to zip tie these. And we need to get this hose here as well. It got tucked back up here. We need to get that reconnected as well. Just snap that right into place. And it's going to take some doing to push it on there. Okay, and if you're in doubt, just test it by trying to pull it back off. If you don't, because I didn't hear this one snap. But it is on there finally because it wouldn't pull back off. Okay, so we're just going to work this brace back in here now. Okay, so we're going to slip this back in. And we'll need to get our latch fed back up through here. I know I got it out, so I know it's going to fit back in. And then we got the wires on the back side there that we have to reattach. We'll go ahead and get those wires reattached and we'll start bolting it down. Okay, so we're just working our bolts back in, and we got these pieces here that go on each side. I know it's trying to get dark, but we're going to finish it up regardless. Looks like these don't exactly fit this replacement radiator, but it'll be alright. They never can make anything the same. Right, so we'll start snugging these up. We've just about got it with the exception of our little front decorative piece there. This has a couple of little nubs here that need to align as well. Okay, with those bolts all tightened down, we're ready to go ahead and slip this back. Like I said, mine just has these clips you can see, and I'm going to slide it back under into that. Well, actually, it's supposed to come from the front. So I'm just going to make sure they're all snapped into place. Side here is not wanting to snap. Okay, actually I have to back up a minute because I have to put my bolts back in these places under here in this plastic piece. I had taken this one off of this, and I have taken two off of these ends here. also need to take my 10mm and fasten these back down. And I need to get my cardboard out. I guess I can pull that out through the bottom, so I guess we need to go ahead and do that. Okay, we went ahead and we tightened this hood latch. I'd forgotten about that too. And I did get that cardboard out. It wasn't that difficult just to pull it out the bottom there. I'm going to snap this into place now. Okay, we got our 10mm that go back here on each side. And the only thing we got left is to get our little under the bumper piece back on. Okay, we got the little under panel piece on, and all we need to do now is start getting coolant in it. So I just start out with a concentrated jug, full jug, and then I'll pour a jug of distilled water and just kind of go from there. But other than just working the air out of it, that's going to be it. So it's going to conclude the video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. As always, I invite you to subscribe, and thanks for watching.